Hey, Freedom Family. What's the truth here? When are you or will you ever really get to a place where even if you've done all the work and you intuitive eating like a badass, is it true that you will truly get to a place where you don't think or worry about food all the time? My name's Helen Bennett. I'm a coach who helps people stop compulsive overeating. And today, in today's Live at Lunch, we're going to chat about exactly that. And the reason we're talking about it is because I was on a call recently with a client I've been working with for just on a year now. And she's come a long way. In fact, I can't really remember when she had her last binge episode. It might have been earlier this year. And we were chatting away, and then suddenly she caught herself feeling quite emotional about something. And when we dug into it, she just shared that she was feeling quite exhausted by all the effort she was having to make in the thinking still now. And while it was a far cry from where she was, she just wondered if she was ever going to be able to just have a relationship with food much the same way she doesn't think about breathing, or she doesn't think about, using the loo. And I love that, first of all, that she actually was able to share that with me, because I think it's a really honest concern. And it shows how much work is involved in changing decades of disordered eating and disordered thinking around. So while we could celebrate how far she comes, she had a moment of catching herself with a better quality problem of wondering if it would get even easier still. And here's the thing, I'm going to be 100% honest with you today. And by the way, if you enjoy this video and you get value from it, I'd love it if you'd smash the like button. It helps this content get out to other people who need to hear more intuitive eating and food freedom content out there when the world is full of information that makes us second guess our relationship with food. And in fact, that ties into today's conversation. But I'm just going to be 100% honest with you. So I've been working on my relationship with food for coming on 10 years now, where I really felt these like real shifts of moving in the right direction, where my relationship with food was completely changing into something that was relaxed and easy and automagical. But when she said that, I noticed that I still think about it. I don't worry about food. So that, I think we can safely say, that will go away. The worrying, the obsession, absolutely. If you keep doing this work and you keep plodding along, that disappears. You begin to trust that your decisions are good. And you begin to trust that if you make a decision and it's not ideal, maybe you overeat, maybe you undereat and you're a bit hungrier later, it's okay. You'll know exactly how to handle that. So the worry disappears. But the thinking, that split second of decision making, that moment where I think about eating and then I go into what now is a very automatic pilot of pausing for long enough to get clear on what it is that I'd like, how much, and then make that clear decision, even if it's in the face of other information or shoulds that I might still be carrying. The truth is that those thoughts still happen for me. Now, we were chatting about it and I shared that I think, and I'm hopeful, that maybe there comes a day where it's as easy as it was when I was a little girl. I don't remember thinking about food and the decisions when I was younger. I just ate and moved on with my day. And while I'm close to that now, there still is a conscious moment of thought that goes into all of my food choices, most of them. So while I can celebrate and be so grateful for how far away I am from the woman I was just 10 years ago, and how much of the compulsion and the obsession is just non-existent anymore, it would be a lie for me to say that I don't have to take a moment to consciously check what's going on. As I say, it's not every time, but a lot. And yesterday I was on a wonderful hike with my husband. And, when I reflected on it, I was like, oh, in the morning there was definitely a moment where I had to make a choice. There was a moment of choice at the top of the peak. And there was a moment of choice when we came back and we were sitting at the restaurant. And they were all a series of good choices that over time I've learned to make that were in alignment with what my body wanted. But the fact is that moment of choice is there. It's not just automated in that I don't have to think about it, but it is automagical in that it's quick, it's effortless, and the minute it's made, I can just shift my focus and get on with my day. And while my client is very much in that position, she's making a series of good choices, and then she's able to shift her focus and move on instead of obsessing all day with, was it the right thing? Was it the wrong thing? Did I eat too much? Oh my God, blah, 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 blah. That's all gone. But she's still having to put effort into the choices. Now, I put a lot less effort in. Maybe my choices are microseconds sometimes, or maybe just a few seconds. But the fact is they're still there. And I'm hopeful that one day I won't ever make those choices and I just won't even think about it. But I suspect I will. And I'll tell you why. Because we live in a society that's constantly asking us, not making us, because nobody can make us feel a certain way or have a certain thought. But the media, that me producing this requires that I'm a part of, and I witness it, whether I'm choosing to or not. The media out there is flooded with content about food and nutrition and what's good or bad and what you should eat and shouldn't eat and when. And so, of course, naturally, there's a part of me that's interested in that content, and for a number of reasons, mostly because I want to know what my future clients might be exposed to and what kind of mindsets they might be coming into the coaching room with that have been conditioned by that sort of the should fest that is media and nutritional guru speak out there. But because they're out there, all those messages are constantly saying you should eat this and you shouldn't eat that, and this is when you should eat and this is when you should. It's natural that I second guess myself, and then I have to continue the process of checking in. Okay, that's what society thinks I should do. What do I need? What does my body need? And that maybe will never go away. And you know what? That's okay, because it's pretty easy and delightful, automatic, and I can then shift my focus immediately back. I think of it a bit like I've learned a completely new language with food. It was weirdly a language I was born with, but now I'm having to consciously kind of express it. And even though it's fluent, I still have to just think about it for a split second before the words come out sometimes. So and sometimes it requires more effort than others. I've got to be honest as well. Sometimes I really have to catch myself. The video I shot the other day about eating when nervous, when I'm feeling that nervous energy or something like that, and I'm choosing to eat, that's where I'm really putting a lot of deliberation into that. And occasionally, say, in indulgent days, maybe Christmas time or something like that, I'm just that little bit more aware of that choice I'm making to indulge and what the repercussions will be. And they're all okay, and I'm cool with it. And then I can shift my focus and move on. But on those days, it is still a bit tricky. Now, to be fair to me, I struggled with a really aggressive eating disorder for a long, long, long time. And it didn't start at 16 and just switch off. There was a period of lead up where I was learning the language of restriction and shoulds and rules and all the stuff I thought about fats and fatness and thinness. And I've spent time working my way out of that. So, that's what, 40, maybe not 40, 40, probably 40 odd years of conditioning that I'm still in the process of trying to automate into something new. And I'm hopeful that one day my relationship will be as not a thing as my breathing and as it used to with food, as it used to be when I was, 4 or 5 years old. So, hey ho, I'm improving every year and I assume it probably will get better. But ultimately, I'm okay if it doesn't. And I just wanted to be honest with you today, because I can tell you that putting this work in will take you to a place which is so delightful and such a level of freedom beyond where you could possibly be now if you're watching this, assuming you're struggling with your relationship with food and with those compulsions and with the obsessions and the constant thinking and worrying. That will change dramatically. But I did want to be honest that maybe you and I will always have that little moment where we have to think, just make that little conscious choice. And maybe it will never be our home language the way it was when we were born. And you know what? If that's the case, that's okay. But I wanted to be completely honest with you. So hopefully that's given you a lot of hope today about what's possible. And also just based it in a sense of reality. We live in a world where we are being asked to second guess our intuition and our body's ability to tell us what it needs. In fact, the media predominantly is telling us that we cannot trust that intuition. And so it requires a huge amount of risk and faith in a way to start to listen again. But the good thing is you get the feedback. And oftentimes with a bit of help, you can see that feedback is really positive. And often I think my role as a coach sometimes just to hold somebody's hand while they make these really hard choices, to listen to their bodies in the face of all of this content that's telling them that their bodies can't be trusted. And then I help them see what happened on the other side of that. Did they have more energy later? Were they more hungry? Were they more tired? What was going on? It's interesting. And then they start to slowly over time build this mountain of evidence to show them that they can trust their body. So I think when I take that moment to make that micro decision about what I'm going to eat, the ability to switch into that place of trust where I just eat and then I'm on with my day and I don't have to worry about it all the time. That's the beauty of what we do in this intuitive eating, food freedom coaching arena. And so what I do with clients is I help hold their hands and build that trust within themselves. And when they're starting to freak out and think, oh my God, it's not going to work, I just help them see what's true. And we learn from all the mistakes, the times when maybe they've overeaten or undereaten and things have gone wrong. And that's okay. Because remember, what I keep saying in my videos, it's oftentimes not about the food. Our relationship with food and our fear around all this has usually got a lot more to do with a lot of other things, like dealing with our emotions and the desire to be thin in a world that's telling us that's all that's important and that all our worth should be built around that. There's a lot to unpack. But building that trust that you can actually listen to your body and then move on. And then the trust that you can move on with your day because the resulting repercussions will be good, come what may. That's wonderful work. And that's what we're talking about here. So hopefully that's given you a bit of sense of where you're headed if you're venturing down this intuitive eating path. Of course, if you'd like any help, just check all the links in the description of this video. We'll have access to booking a call or doing one of my courses or just watching the Food Freedom Foundation's masterclass, which is free. And it comes with a real training on exactly what we're talking about today. It's how to get that little inner whisper. What does that even sound like? How do you even find it? So dive into that training if you haven't already. And if you've got value from this content or any other video that you've watched, do me a favor and smash that like button. I'd really appreciate it. As always, I will be here on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, same time, same place. And I'm pretty much chatting to myself. But if you'd ever like to join me and ask a question, then please do jump in the chats. And I'd happily answer whatever comes my way. If I can remember to put the comments thing on in my face. There we go. Done. You see, you can only get better through practice and through making mistakes. We learn. All right, everybody, have a wonderful day further, and I'll chat to you again on Wednesday.